Welcome back to How AI is Built. This is Nicolay, and today I'm talking to Kieran, the founder of Kora and one of the entrepreneurs of residence at Every. And Kieran is building an AI-powered email client, but what's most interesting is about Kieran is not what he's building, but how he's building. He is using AI agents as colleagues and not just tools. And he thinks if you have to babysit them every 5 minutes, they're basically useless. And in this episode, we're going to talk about how he's doing compound engineering that extracts, processes, prompts, systems from every code review and every code you write, how he uses Git worktrees, and how often research beats coding, and why 80% of the success with agents happens before the agents write the first lines of code. Let's do it.
Software's eating the world, but AI's eating that too. Ship, learn, fix, that's how we get AI right. Look at your fucking data, keep that quality tight. Out of the lab, into the field, time to deploy. Real world problems, real solutions, that's what we employ.
Honestly, it changes every week. And that's the fun part. So I started building Kora almost a year ago. And a year ago, Sonnet 3.5 just launched, which is like the milestone for engineers. And honestly, that gave me confidence that I could do a startup or something like this alone. Because before I've done things, but we raised money, like I raised millions of dollars and grew a team and did all of that. And I really hated the pressure or the taking away of the freedom that gives. Like raising money is great and it feels good, but also day to day, suddenly you have to grow 40% month over month, or like whatever the numbers are. And there are certain expectations. And I really wanted to do something bootstrapped after that. And Sonnet 3.5, there was a moment where I was just testing it out and like I vibe coded an app. Like back then, the term did not exist, but it was in the summer a year ago. But I vibe coded an app, a Swift app for like doing massages. Like I do trigger point massage, and like I wanted to track it, and like it's so highly specific that nothing exists. Like there are workout apps and all of that, but like nothing what I wanted existed. So I just said, okay, I have a spreadsheet. These are my exercises. I just want to track how long it was and then rate the muscle pain after. And I vibe coded this Swift app in like an evening. And this was like a moment where like, holy shit, this is like this feels like it supports me in what I want to do. And as a like an entrepreneur, solopreneur, that gives a lot of confidence to take the leap to build something alone. Because before I always had this idea of like, oh, I need like someone like super technical nerdy co-founder that like I can rely on, and like it's hard to do things alone. But like having Sonnet 3.5 really made me feel like, okay, I can do this. And at the same time, I was using Cursor already for years there. I think I was one of the first users. And Composer dropped. Ian was working on Composer, and I loved Command Shift I. Very ugly interface, very hard to use, but like there was something there. And like that was the next step where I realized, holy shit, Composer is the next thing. Like it wasn't agentic yet, but it did more things than just one file. And like really that was the next step where I was like, okay, I can definitely build something. This is like going to make me way more productive, and let's go. And I started building Kora. Like I'm working with Every as well, and I built Kora with them. I'm the only engineer and person on the team there, but they support me with design and marketing, stuff like that. And also like just my brain, they fuel my brain with inspiration. And yeah, we started building this thing, and it took me like one night to build a prototype. And that is really possible with like Composer, with Sonnet 3.5, and experimenting early on. and just seeing how things work, how things feel, and testing things internally. Like that's really how it started. It was just like, oh yeah, we have this idea of like email sucks. No one likes email. It's a lot of work, and like why the hell did Google not solve generating good drafts? Like our initial idea was like, if you open your Gmail, you have like a bunch of email, and I want everything already drafted for, because 3.5 Sonnet was good enough at writing. It was the first model that was good enough at writing that you actually could use it. Like it wasn't cringe or it wasn't bad. Like it was, and we're like, okay, who's going to do this email thing? Is Google doing it? No one was doing it. And we're like, well, why don't we do it? Let's just try it out. Let's just see it. And this prototype was born. And we were like, okay, there is something here. So we built this prototype where your inbox is red and we draft responses to emails that we think we can draft responses to. But then the other step after that was like, okay, but I still have like a million other emails that I don't really care about. And that's where we found the problem of like, okay, so like drafting is great, you need to take action on certain emails, but actually like 80% of emails you don't even like, you don't need to take immediate action on. That can wait. You can take a few hours or half a day to wait for those. So we had this idea of a brief, and we were in an offsite in Nice in France, southern France, and I was like, okay, let me just build this. Still Composer. That was the best tool out there. I don't think there was anything else. Yeah, Copilot, but like that was not comparable with Cursor back then. And I just said to like the people there, I said, okay, I'm going to do something fun. I'm going to archive all the email in your inbox automatically, which the AI thinks is not important for you. And they were like, sure. And I'm going to summarize all those emails and send it twice a day as like a summary. And we'll see like if it screws up or if it works. And we turned it on, and we were doing like walking around the town. We had like a day where we were not working, and people were checking their Gmail, and we're like, just all we were realizing, opening our inbox, suddenly it was cleaner, and we're like, holy shit, like this, there's a feeling to this software, to this idea, which is calm. Like it's a little bit like, oh shit, do I miss something, mixed with like it feels calmer. And we're like, okay, there is something here. Let's build, let's do this. And that's the moment we decided to go for this and build it. Yeah.
I still remember the early Composer days. It was so buggy, but
Oh, yeah.
the amount of files it sometimes created was like unbearable.
It's really funny, yeah.
I still remember I was trying to use it in a Python project, and it started to create PyCache files, which are usually auto-generated, which was like the most interesting thing I think I've seen so far.
Yeah, like I really like. I think Composer was inspired by artifacts. So like props to Anthropic with artifacts for sure, and Sonnet 3.5. Like I think that's like the OG and GPT-4 obviously before that. But yeah, like Cursor Composer was very nice if you knew how to tame it, but it was very buggy and experimental.
Yeah. What were your personal milestones and like your AI assisted coding journal from like Composer to now?
Yeah.
Friday, I think you posted today.
Yeah, so like really early, I got like alpha access to GPT-3, which is like way back when. And this was so like it wasn't really useful for coding because I had like 500 tokens or something like that, 512, I believe. Like it was very small, but I got access to that, and then was Copilot early access as well just after, and that was like, holy shit, like I don't like have to physically type things anymore, which is great. Like it wasn't really smart. It was just like autocomplete, like comments to autocomplete. And the step after that, I think, was ChatGPT, where there was a realization, actually, like a longer context window and like multi-step thinking, because it was always before that, it was like one thing and then an output. And it was like, with ChatGPT, it was like, oh, you can iterate, you can like have a conversation. So that was another opener. And for all of these, it was mostly non-coding things I used it for. But I think that's important because, like, yeah, we're talking about AI tools, and lots of people like think about coding only, and it's way more than coding. And I think that's the interesting part. Like this affects coding plus everything else. The next step for coding was GPT-4. Like, this was where I had the first time where I just asked it to write a Python script, like a utility script, where I said, can you just refactor files like into a certain structure? And it did like use an AST and everything like that. We're like, oh, well, you can one shot actually like an idea or a script, like a one thing into a usable code, that was GPT-4. And like, that's really cool. And I think Cursor started to become useful with GPT-4 as well. So it was more of like, I don't have to copy paste code back and forth from ChatGPT anymore, which was really nice. After that, the moment I talk about Sonnet 3.5, Cursor Composer, and I think Windsurf started to become interesting, because Windsurf at that point started to be like one of the first more agentic frameworks. Like, Cursor was not really built with an agentic mindset yet. It was more of like, it came from the composer, and like, you had to inject all the context up front mostly. And Windsurf was like, no, you don't need to inject any context. Just say what you want, and we'll like have an agent gather the context. And that's what I was like, oh, that's cool, that's interesting. And it needed a mind shift for me. Like, I needed to unlearn doing the prompt repo mega prompts style, where I do everything and like give all the context. Like, that's the maybe old school, or like there's still use for that, but that's a different way of thinking, and I had to unlearn a little bit. And I think the first tool, like Claude Code, I used whenever it launched in February, but I was like, it's $5 for like a Git commit. So I was like, I'm not going to spend $5 to do a Git commit. So I just kind of put it away as like, it's very like, it's cool, but it's very expensive. And I'm still like, I was still using Cursor, and like, I knew how it worked. I was comfortable with it. And then 3.7 launched in Cursor, and everything broke. Cursor could not handle 3.7. It was not tamed. It was way too eager. It just like, it was like the composer days, where it just did like a million things. Like, oh, wait. Like, just saying, wait, stop. This is like just simple things. And it completely felt unusable at that point. So I was like, okay, I need to find a tool that makes me as productive as Cursor did before. Clearly, Cursor broke. Whatever they did, they version 0.5, I think it was, they like shipped way too many things in one go, and like, no one knew why it didn't work anymore, because they just had a new model, they had a new UI, they had an agent mode, they shipped way too many things in one go, and they recovered by now, but it took like at least a few months. So my mind was open, like, okay, I need to find something that worked as well as that Cursor. And I knew there were these agents, and I knew Claude Code was there. I knew there were other agents, like Klein, for example. I don't know if it was there already, but like, I was looking around, like, hey, there has to be something better. And Yeah, and I found Friday, since every office is in New York, and there's like a small team building like a consultancy business that also built a coding agent, and it's called Friday. And at some point they say just like, hey, like try this out, or like if you want to try it out, this is it. And I signed up. I've never gotten any for free. I just paid for it, and I tried it. And the first time I tried it, it just like did exactly what I wanted it to do. I was like, holy shit, like this is like the magical feeling you get with an agentic coding experience, where you just give it a problem, give it like an outline of what you want, it does the research, and it creates a pull request. And the magic of Friday is very opinionated. So like it's built by developers that have an opinion about how to build software, and also it does it end to end. So you say, this is what I want to solve, and it creates a pull request. Like it ended the whole conversation without asking me anything. I just said the YOLO mode. I always do YOLO mode. And suddenly you have this feeling of like having a colleague instead of like having a tool that you suddenly have to like push forward. And that was the first time I realized, okay, agentic is the way forward for sure for me. Like this is how it like this works for me. And I think like 2 weeks later, Anthropic already announced that they would include Claude Code in the Max plan, and that made me switch. Like I went full on Claude Code at that point, because I was like, I want to be very good at this. I want to learn everything I can here, because this feels like the composer in Cursor, like the half a year before that. This feels like it is the way forward.
I think like this feeling of being able to step away and just let it run and it's not going completely off the rails was like the
Yeah.
most important part of like this agentic thing. Because in
Yeah.
Windsurf, I had the issue, I used it a bunch when it came out, where it ran off, but it made so many mistakes that it was just unusable and you had to
Yeah.
babysit it. So
Yeah.
you could cancel it at certain situations and get it back on track.
Yeah, 100%. And I think Cursor, when they did their agent mode as well, and I tried Taskmaster to like keep it on track and like all the things, follow the to-do list. But Cursor and Windsurf, even though kind of agentic or fully agentic, I never had the feeling of I can step away and it will, like, the leash is the correct amount and it will actually do the right thing. And with Claude Code and Friday and AMP and Klein, like I think, or Devin as well, actually, like even though like there are others that do that, like I can give it a task, and I think that's where the value is, because that's where the future is. Like it's the mindset of, it's not an IDE or coding tool, it's actually like kind of like a colleague that does work for you, and you manage that colleague, and you cannot manage 10 colleagues that every 5 minutes ping you and say, oh, is this right, or do something completely weird and then is useless. Like you don't want that colleague. You want someone that just does something that's solid and you can review, and then they will iterate on it and at least will stay in the same course. Like, do they need to be perfect? No. Are they perfect? No. But is it usable? Like, is it not frustrating? Does it give peace and like enjoyment? Like all those things are important, and these feelings, I think the agentic systems start to give that. And especially with like the latest Claude, like 3.7 was tamed well in Claude Code, which was great. Very bad in Cursor, but they like the eagerness they fixed in version 4 a lot. So version 4 is even better. Like it's just leaning into what 3.7 with Claude Code was good at. Version 4 just does even better, which is really nice.
What do you think are the core skills of actually working with like a bunch of agent colleagues?
Yeah, it's interesting because everyone is always like, oh, like if you talk about agentic coding, you should talk to like the most amazing coders and the the OGs of design patterns and all of that. And I think, yeah, for certain things, but like maybe you should talk to CEOs or CTOs or managers, like, or more. Maybe you should talk to everyone. I think the skills needed to work with coding agents or agents in general are more like of a manager or a CTO. Like clearly you need to have good taste. Like it's very important to know taste. But like think about like a very technical CEO. Like I think that's like the ideal person to learn how to use LLMs from. And that's the kind of skills you need for LLMs, because it's really about systems thinking, like really articulating the problem you're trying to solve, inspiring or steering the agents towards your taste of outcome. So yeah, I think like very technical CEOs, like those kind of qualities, I think are very important for agents, because it's not only about coding. It's about doing research. It's about doing reviews. Like coding is kind of easy, and it's pretty good at that already. Like for me, that's not where I struggle the most. Where I struggle the most is I have so many pull requests that I need to review. Like I think for me, the biggest problem is like, how do I review the code in a way that works well? So for me, that is actually like, what are the skills for reviewing code, or like how can you have agents review the code for you? And like those are skills for me that are more important right now than actually writing the code.
Can you still keep up with the pull request? Like, how far can a single like manager scale with a bunch of agents?
Yeah, for sure, pull requests are the bottleneck. Like that is the bottleneck with us. And the other bottleneck, I think, like there are two. Like there are like the feature requests that come in, and the pull requests that come out. I think like analyzing, deciding what is important on like what should we build. I think that's one thing, and the pull requests at the other end. But I'm very optimistic that you can actually use and utilize AI also to be more effective at pull requests. And a few things I'm trying and doing lately is like, and this is something I did before, even like before AI, I had like for certain pull requests there's a checklist that I wanna review. And for like high risk ones, I have a stricter checklist. Like if it's payments related, for example, like, or like if you do migrations, like you want certain other checks in there to catch things you might not think about all the time. So I've like levels of thinking basically, or checking. And some like in my previous companies, we had like the CEO, she looked at it as well as like a third pass in certain cases. And I think you can do the same with LMs, where you like have an easy like /review command, and you have like a think deeply about everything that could go wrong, and then have that list, and then have another agent again see if those things are actually going wrong or not, and then propose changes. So there are like lots of ways to do that. I've different bot. I have Charlie, which is like an AI assistant as well, like linked to my GitHub. So Charlie comments on pull requests. I have Claude commenting on pull requests. I've all kinds of automated systems that try to catch errors, and I think doing that more makes me feel more confident in shipping code. Obviously, adding tests that are good. So I think focusing on writing good tests is maybe more important than focusing on the code itself. Because if the tests are good, like the code will become better. Like writing crappy tests is not good. And that's another point where it's still like, it's not like it's okay. Like, but if things get like, unit tests are easy, but if it gets more complicated, like more system or maybe like integration, like where do you draw the line? Where do you mock? Where do you use fixtures, like where is the line? And I think that's where humans still come in a lot. But one of the coolest things is like, okay, yeah, so you have all these custom commands. I can show some of them, but how do we get those? Because there's no one command. Yeah, yes, you could copy my command and then use it, but that's not the point. Like, you need to create your own command because it's your way of reviewing and it should work for you. You can be inspired by me showing a command, and then you're like, oh, I can do that. And then you should make your own. But what I do is I have one other engineer, Nitesh, and him and I have 1 hour sessions every day. And one of the things we do in these sessions is just pair review code. And he learned. So we use Ruby on Rails. He learned Ruby on Rails with ChatGPT. So he's like an AI native, which is like he has absolutely no experience writing Ruby on Rails without AI, which is really funny. But he has a different perspective, and he's very like how can I utilize AI to learn and to get better. And what we do, he records the conversations we have when we do the code reviews, and then what we do is we have the transcriptions and then feed that to Claude to extract best patterns and like philosophical ways of thinking that I gathered over the many years doing this, like extracting the taste and the systems that are in my head, and we then extract that to Claude commands. And so this is kind of the, like I call it compound engineering. Is like whatever you do, make sure you get more out of it than just the review or the work. Make sure to extract the system or extract an SOP or extract the thinking. Like what can the AI learn from every interaction you have with an agent or a feature you build or a review? Because then the next time we run that command, it will have called those things. And that's really cool. Like, I'm super excited about it. And I think doing that more and more will just compound to like being more productive. And I feel confident at some point that the pull request will also be like kind of automated review. And then if it's an automated review, it's like not even a review. It's already like whenever you write the code, and there's just a pipeline that does it automatically. And then it's really building confidence in that it's really good. And I think you need like static scanners as well and linting. Like, it's all of those together. Just really, like security scanners. Use everything, every tool you have to automatically catch anything. And AI is really good at fixing things. If something says this scan failed, it will fix it for you. So anything that can create signal about quality, feed it back into the AI and let it do its thing. Like, I think that's the way forward. Like, and every week changes. Like, and I'm unlearning things, relearning things, and coming back to things that I did before in a bigger team, being VP of engineering, which is really like, I'm like, oh, I did this like a while back, and I was like, I can just do the same thing, but without people. You just use AI to do it.
I would love to see like your workflow when you're starting to build a feature, and especially how you pipe the different AIs or prompts into each other.
Yeah.
When you try to especially avoid that the same AI or the same thread reviews itself.
Yeah. Shall I share my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do this. Okay. First of all, I use Warp now as well. I love, like, I want to try out every tool that exists. So like I am trying every tool that exists. And and I think it's really fun. Like, it's just a hobby of mine. I love agents, and yeah. So if anyone has agents, send them my way. Um, so what I want to do is lean into old school thinking. Like, if you do a feature, you want to understand what problem you are solving. Like, it's a little bit cliche, but with AI, it's so easy to just state the problem and then it just implements it. We were talking about it like it being too eager, it doing too much. But I think it's really important for us to like review steps. So if it's like garbage at the start, it won't be good at the end. So just make sure that like the start is really solid. And I have a few shortcuts, like CCI is Claude Code, skip all permissions / issue with an argument. Here, let me just start Claude. So I normally start Claude with bypassing permissions because I think any friction is bad. And by now I've trusted enough to like not completely mess up. I don't run bypass permissions while walking away because like it is dangerous for a reason. But I do think if you do research and instructed to do research, like it's not going to delete anything or like wreck your computer. So yeah. I have this command called issues. Teach issues. So issues, let me also put it here. Okay, this is the issues command. And this is always where I start with an AI feature. Even if it's like a small thing, like why not? What I do, like how I created this is really it's a funny story. Like my colleague Natesh, like we were anticipating Claude 4 to launch, and the day before we are like, let's create like 1 million issues, research and all, because then tomorrow we can like see if we can do like 100 in a day or something ridiculous. Obviously, we didn't do that, but we were so excited. So he was like, okay, I instructed Claude to come up with a prompt. I said, tomorrow AGI hits, and we need to do a lot of research to make sure we can like really utilize the AGI tomorrow. And like, and he had this prompt, and then like it came up with like a instruction to do research, and then I took that, put it in the Anthropic console prompt improver, which is amazing. If no one if people don't know it, but there's a generate prompt here, and you can say anything like research a GitHub issue with a problem statement. So for example, so I use an app called Monologue to do text to or a speech to text, which I like. So you can give like a really basic prompt or any prompt or idea you have, and it will rewrite it with best practices with like variables and XML tags. And I always do this, like always put your prompts through here. It's really good. And then I copy paste this and put it in here. There's this thing here called arguments, which is basically whatever you put after here. So you can pass like an issue number or description or something like that. And also you can call this, you can run this command directly from the console, where you just pass this as an argument to Claude, which you could do like this, like Claude, you can say /issues, and then you can write something here. So running this will then immediately run this / command in Claude, which is basically my alias or function I have in Bash here. So this is like just making things a little bit easier to work, and you can pipe this also the output and say now work on it, or do whatever you want with it. But it's that's what I like. It's not opinionated in how you should use it. like here, well, this is how you should use cursor, and you're kind of stuck there. And I like the hacky part of it there, where you can just do your own workflows. But let's go back to here. Basically, research the repository. Always the first thing I want is like grounding the LLM, and grounding it is in like finding the things it needs to know about in the repository. So this is the files, this is like the templates, all of that stuff. Another one is best practices. So I always say, like if it's about like a certain like library, go find best practices for that library online. Like just search the web. Actually, I should also say use context 7 MCP, because I added that. So a context 7 is an MCP that kind of does this for you too, and I love it, but it should be in here too, so fixed it. So context 7 is like gathering all the best practice, but I like to do like a web search as well. Then after that, like on your research, like you want to propose a plan and a structure and present the plan. And then after that, I want to create a GitHub issue. So I just lean into a workflow I know, which is GitHub issues. Or you can use Linear or Jira or whatever, like, or Markdown files, whatever works for you, Notion. Just find something that has a CLI or an API or an MCP or a way to communicate that you want to keep track things. I like GitHub issues because it hooks into GitHub. Everyone uses GitHub already, like even open source projects. So if you find a bug with a library, you can just use this to reproduce a bug, and it will find the template for how you should actually structure your issue or your bug, because it's in the repo and it just works, which is really cool. And then it will do everything. So yeah, like so this is step one. It's issues, and you should create your own file. But these are kind of the things I know work. And how do I come to this? Is like I just talk to Claude and see what works, and then whenever I see something works, I create a / command.
Yeah. What I love in this as well, I love to collect references.
Yes.
Like references to local files, or references, if we can't find any references locally, references to certain repos or whatever you find on the internet as well.
Yeah, that's okay. So okay, I like that. I'm going to research the repository. Okay, I'll add that. So can you make sure to include any references to local files with line numbers or GitHub repos, so you can look at these examples later on? Put them on the bottom of the GitHub issue. And yeah, and references are also what I do normally when I have a feature request or a bug report. We use feature base, so I also reference the feature base post, and I have a feature base MCP that can then say, yo, we fixed this, or like we need more information, or like yeah, it's cool to collect references, because you can actually have Claude do stuff with those references, like taking action or emailing back or asking for more stuff.
Yeah, the only thing I'm missing at the moment is like somewhere to actually collect these references in a structured way, because I think these are one of the most valuable content you can give as context to the LLM.
Yes, so I do that in my GitHub issue. Like that's like the GitHub issue, like, or the linear ticket or whatever that is. Like that is for me the place to collect all of these. And this is how I did it before. Like this is nothing new. It's just like now the AI does the work for me. So for me, that is the GitHub issue. And the beauty is, like, it is also accessible for humans. Like there is a board, and so here, let me just show, like there is a backlog here for Kora with issues, like, and I can prioritize it and I can look at this. So there's just like, it integrates with a system I already know. It just less labor, even like, because before, if you have a bug request coming in, like how many bugs are not reproduced because you just don't have time, or how many bugs are not solved because you just have too many and it's too hard to like debug everything. Like it's way easier to do that now. Yeah.
Nice. I think like, what's the next step? So you created the issue. How do you continue?
Yeah. So I have an issue here, and normally I batch doing these research things a little bit together because it's like a state of mind I'm in. And like, let's just take this one for example. Like there are acceptance criteria, some things. What I do is I have another command called work, and this one is about taking the issue. It says here it takes the GitHub issue, like again, like look at it and like rework the plan if needed, create the plan, present it as a to-do list, and then I say, yep, sounds good, let's do it. So, and either I use Claude Code for this, or I used Friday, or like whatever tool. Like the beauty is most of these tools, AMP has a GitHub integration, like whatever has GitHub integration, I can use this with. So that's super flexible, and it will just start coding. And there are different kinds of work. Like if I feel like this is a simple enough thing, it's kind of clear what it needs to do, I can spin up multiples. So yeah, the next step is Claude Code work, and then I just input the number of the issue. This is 361, and what it will do is it will create a work tree. It will create a new branch, it will start Claude Code, and then Claude Code will pull the issue. And the beauty is like, now I can just go to the next terminal. I'm like, okay, let's work on the next one. Let's say I want to do this one as well. Like this one is a bit harder. Let's just, for example, let's do this one as well. There's nothing here. So you see, I use both methods. I do AI research, but I also kind of have a to-do list. Well, like I need to work on this. But just for example, CC work, this one should be starting it up here as well. So now, like I can do this because these are different work trees. So you can see they are in Kora.worktrees, and that means the file structure is different. The only thing is like with databases and secrets, you need to like make sure that works for you. But it's a different file system, so they can do their things and create a pull requests and stuff from there as well. So this is now running two agents at the same time, and I just need to check in on the plan whenever they're there and say, yes, sounds good. And then it will create a pull request for me. And then the next step is reviewing that code. So yeah, this one is like the coding part is actually the easiest part, which is just I say, yes, sounds good, and then go from there.
Yeah, and I think like work trees are like the Git feature. I'm still annoyed that I didn't knew it earlier.
Yeah, right?
But I think it now it finally has like a clear reason to exist.
It's it's funny how I even found out. I was like, at some point, I was just talking with Claude. Let's see if I can find the original conversation because it was kind of funny. Work trees. Maybe it was ChatGPT. And I will at some point I was like, I have this issue. Like I want to work on multiple things at the same time. I think it was ChatGPT or Claude I talked to. And can you create a bash script for me that does it? And I looked at the script and I was like, what? That's so simple. And it called it work trees. I was like, how does it even work? I don't get how it works. And then I figured out, oh, this is just Git. Like this literally is in Git, and I'm like, wow, okay. So and then I saw also the Claude Code instructions suggesting to use work trees. But yeah, like it makes a lot of sense. You need a like you can use it, but I like to have my own like scripts. I can show those as well. So I like to have my own like kind of adjustments a little bit. So I've a WT function here where you can branch off from a branch name base branch as well. Normally I use main, but like it's like a little bit boilerplate because you need to create, like you need to have a directory where you do it. I like to put it in the root and then worktrees, because if you do that, you can have like you can compare branches. So you can even have an agent say, hey, can you look at this feature and that feature, and then like take the best of both and then like be inspired. So you can check out like completely different versions from a year ago and then say like, hey, this is from a year ago. And like it's kind of fun stuff you get with it if it lives in the root. Yeah, so the git ignore, it should take as well. And like if you have a .env, you need to copy it as well, because otherwise nothing works. And you maybe need to set a like change things in there if you have multiple database connections, if you really want to make it safe, if you run the same tests or something like that. I've never had any issues running my tests, but you might have issues running tests if you run multiple agents from the same database, for sure. So I like to create something like that. It just adds the work tree, and the cleanup one, just clean everything up. Because otherwise you have a million work trees and then it says, oh, this branch is already checked out. Like you have main checked out in one work tree and you cannot access it anymore. It's kind of annoying, but just have it clean up as well. And then I use these, for example, in starting an issue. So here you can see I start a work tree with the issue number. Then I run Claude and start the project work with the issue that I passed there, and it just starts running. So it's just lowering friction, because if you have to think about all these things all the time, like you're not going to do it the same or like remember.
Yeah, the only thing that's really dangerous in worktrees is when your agent decides to run like type checks on entire directories or
Oh
runs
yeah,
linters, because then it suddenly puts everything into
yeah, because
staging.
because it is there. Yeah, you need to make sure like that git ignore is kind of used in your tooling and that is set up, but you could also not have it in your root and have it in your home directory or something like that if you.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's your decision. Like I like to have it in my like app directory, because then I can reference it as files if I want to. Like I find that handy. But yeah, like you could put it somewhere else. It doesn't matter. It could be anywhere on your file system. Yeah.
Yeah. I tend to have like main like unused. And when I
Yeah.
need to go to main directly, I tend to cherry pick a compressed command or like a stash command from a certain branch I just worked on.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like however works for you, Git is very cool and powerful, and there's no one way to do it, but you should know about Git work trees because it is very handy to have checked out branches in
Yeah.
different places in your file system.
And now after like assuming the work is finished, like how do you pipe into like the different levels of review you might want
Yeah,
to
so
run?
okay, so assume this is finished. I'll just go to a pull request that I need to review here. Okay, let's go here. So this is the pull request that agent created, because the output in the end here is a pull request. I'll just stop this. I have actually. So this I didn't automate yet. So I do this check out. I just check out the pull request. Well, there you have it. There we are. That error is already checked out somewhere, and sometimes you lose track of where you are. And so yeah, we're here. So I make sure I'm checked out, and there's like the built-in commands PR comments. So you can pull in all the comments from the PR. if there are comments already. But there are no comments yet. So the review. This is just a basic review command from Claude Code. Like, I think it's good. You can learn something from it. It will review and will say if it's good or not. But you can also see I have Charlie responded here. So this is another tool, and I use GitHub as like the place to link all these things. So you can add any other tool to review your code as well. And it's fun because Charlie is made for TypeScript and I use Ruby. So like it's it's pushed with a different taste, which I like. Like I like it because it will be more strict about like, oh, it could be nil here. Like, oh, are you sure? And like, yeah, it's Ruby and probably that's fine. And I know kind of like yeah, it's like, yeah, it shouldn't be nil, but yeah, technically it could be. But like I like that. It's like a different perspective. And so yeah, you get like here the fallback, unreachable has always non-nil string. Okay, well, great. So you can say PR comments, so it will read. Okay, so it's done with the review here, and normally, yeah. So code organization, like this is not a very hard thing, but you can see it pulls in Claude MD stuff of best practices. It's like, hey, numbers should be constants. I agree. Missing nil check. Sure, a test coverage for this is like a simple, like if someone pays, I want to see it in Discord. Like it's like an easy thing. But it's pulling in the comments now from Charlie as well. And I have this other command called resolve PR parallel, which I will run now. And resolve PR parallel is something I created because I know there are sub-agents, and sometimes so first of all, there are sub-agents which can parallelize work in Claude Code, which can make things faster, especially if things are simple, like making a change. That's very clear. If you do 5 at the same time, it's faster. Second, it's terrible at keeping track in a large pull request what it did and what it didn't do. Like I got annoyed at some point where like, okay, just fix all the comments, and then it fixes 3, and then like, yeah, and the rest, and like, oh, sorry, I forget. Like, so this one uses the actual comments in GitHub as the source of truth, so it will actually resolve them in GitHub. So it's just a better to-do list than like it forgetting about stuff. So that's why I created this. Yeah, so like it's more of like to-do management and pushing that to a GitHub CLI and like saying like, hey, this is how you close it using the GraphQL API. Like really lean into what an actual engineer would do more than like it thinks it should do. And when to use parallel sub agents, like, hey, if you have multiple edits, you should just do like 5 edits at the same time, or 10, or like however. Like actually giving a number sometimes doesn't work. If you say 10, it won't do 10, it will just do 1 because it thinks it's too much. But if you say use parallel for all to-dos and there are 30 to-dos, it will happily take 30 to-dos as sub agents. So I feel not specifying how many sub agents you use is a good thing. But if you want specific number, don't go over 5. that's kind of my take. I'm curious if you have any other experiences.
No, I think like in numbers it's very bad, and I think like in sub agents, or I think it's called task in Claude Code.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, internally they call it sub agent in the code, but it's called a task. Yeah.
Yeah, it's you have to be very explicit that they are launched. So I think like this is what you can see often, like it isn't as trained in yet as a bunch of the other tools Anthropic has natively supported, which is like grab, read file, stuff like that, which work like very well out of the box. It's I think like the interesting part with sub agents and also in general agents is like when you think back, okay, when I try to avoid big pull requests, which is often something, if you want to quickly review and test code, is a good thing to do. I think this is something I would love to hear your opinion on. Like, how do you try to get the agent to correctly sequence the work and split it up into like 5, 6 different commits that build on top of each other for a larger like bug fix or feature request?
Yeah, so I stopped this one. So I think that's the hardest still. Like if the plan is clear and the steps are clear, like that's solved. That works. Claude is very good at just going. Like I think any tool like AMP or Klein or Devin or like Friday, like all of the agents are good at just keeping going, because the Claude 4 is good at that, and Gemini 2.5 actually is also pretty good at just going. So yeah, that's where I struggle most. Like I think like fixing these bugs, like the hard part is like, what if you don't know what needs to be done, because it will decide what to do, and you need to make sure that we're still on the right path. So like what I try to do, like things I'm trying out now, is to do more research. And ways to do more research is like, hey, can you come up with like 5 ways to solve this problem, instead of like relying on one plan. So I already before, instead of having one plan, I say, okay, can you give me 3 takes or 5 takes? And maybe I already have an idea. Like I say, hey, can you like do a service object pattern, or can you like do like another design pattern, like, or like find best practices online how you would solve, or what kind of patterns you should use. And then from those you start to already like kind of pseudo code, or maybe already example code, but then I can look at the code and like get a feel of like, is this too complicated or is this too simple? Because most of the time it's too complicated, and then I say, yeah, this is too complicated, can you simplify it? So it's like this refinement of finding lots of different, exploring different ways. Codex is kind of fun because you can like run 10 different agents with the same task, and then like pick your favorite, which like I think something like that. But I do that with like in the research already. I want to see pseudocode, or I want to see flows, or I want to see like why certain things, and then I will project my taste and say like, hey, this feels good. uh and that's where experience comes in, like look at like knowing code or used codes. Yeah, so yeah, I think that should be solved in the like the number one step. It's like, I think if an agent is not coding well or is not going great, I think there's something wrong with the research. Like that's kind of my thinking. Or you need to go back to research. Maybe you need to take a step back and take a look. And sometimes features are very big and very complicated, and there are features where AI just doesn't work yet because there's so much like business logic included, like where like I need to know what happens when a free trial expires. Like an AI has absolutely no idea. Like it's like the also a little bit of classic like engineering problem you have, like, oh yeah, implement payments, and then you're like, oh yeah, but what does the business side want for payments? Like what happens if this and this and this, and they say, oh, we don't know, you just build it. I was like, yeah, but I can't build it, I need to build something, and I need to know what to build. And they're like, yeah, but like, yeah, what accounting says. And then like and they all want different things, because accounting is like transaction wants transactions, and like the business side wants a subscription, and like it's like, so it's like those kind of problems I think just are also in AI, where it's not clear what the definitions are. So I think going back to like, what are the primitives you work with, what are the workflows, what are the like, just really clarifying those. That's where I see AI struggle the most, because yeah, like sometimes the code is not the truth. And for AI the code is the truth, but or it's confusing because someone uses a name free trial, but it's like the free trial that someone implemented 4 years ago and not the new free trial v2 deluxe. And yeah, so like I feel there's something broken with the research if big features don't work. And I think it's perfectly fine just to go in and just manually code for those, because why not? Like if things work, they work, and happy to do that once in a while too.
I think you can just throw away stuff way more frequently. I think like a lot of like how to build it on more complex features emerges while you're doing the actual implementation,
Yeah.
or after you cracked it the first one and miserably failed.
Yeah, you
And then
delete it and you know what
yeah,
not to build. Yeah. Yeah.
reset, come up with a new prompt and start
Yeah,
fresh.
it's way cheaper and easier. Like, but that's what I mean by research, really. Like, in my head, that building and exploratory, like back in the day, you would go in and start typing and see, like, oh, where would this break if I refactor this variable or move this function to like a different model? Like, where would it break? And then you run the test. You're like, oh, we rely on it there. Oh, yeah, that's like, and oh, it should maybe be there. And like, where are the abstractions? And I think that you can now do by just talking to the AI and do the research, because it can pull in all the files. So you can say, hey, what if you put this method in the account instead of the user? Like, what would break?
Yeah.
And you get an answer, and that's great. Yeah.
Everything can be deleted. I think that's one of the main takeaways with like anything in knowledge work. You can't just throw it away because it's easy to rebuild it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But that was before, like, I think even before AI, I was fine doing work and then deleting everything just to explore things. But it's even easier, and you feel less attached to it maybe because it's way quicker to do as well.
Yeah. What do you think should be removed from the coding agents? Because it's like we at AMP, like the model picker is one of them. We
Yeah.
by design removed out of them and don't expose to the user.
Yeah, for it depends on the personality. I think everyone is different and want a different leash or different feel. Like some people are very paranoid, some people are, they want to be in control of everything. For me, like I like minimalism, and I like it's just doing, like, it needs to solve problems for me. And like me picking a model, I don't care. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I don't like to tinker with that. Like yeah, I want the best model, but I don't want to select 2.5. Or like I got annoyed at Cursor at some point. I was like, oh, like 2.5, and I used 2.5, and it kind of works. And I'm like, yeah, and then 3.0 like also works. And I like, yeah, but like have no idea why one is better than the other the first day it launched. And you guys had early access the last week, so at least give me something. Like at least say what is good at or something. Like, so I think it's on the agentic makers to figure out what it is good at and how to use it, because that's your job, that's not my job. So yeah, I completely agree with that. Yeah. You're muted.
Do you think there is any differentiation between the different coding agents?
Yeah, because the UIs look different, and some people decide they're inside VS Code or Cursor, and some people say we're in the terminal, and some people say we're on GitHub. And I think that actually makes a big difference. Like I have access to all the tools, but I never use Codex ever, because I need to go to a different website somewhere and then like type in something. Like it's just too much work. Like it's pretty good, but like it just does not work for me because I need to go somewhere where I'm not. So like that is very a little bit similar to Devin, although they have a CLI as well now, which is nice, but it's also early, and also it's yeah, it's so for me, like wherever I am, and I'm not really in the IDE or like the editor anymore. Like that's not where I am anymore. So like I'm in Warp, and it's kind of fun because Warp now itself is actually an agent and it can code. Like I haven't really tried it out super much, but it's cool. Like it's where I am, so like that's interesting. Um, so for me, it's like lowering friction. Are they different? They're absolutely different because yeah, like some try to cheap out, some are try to like make you pay hundreds of dollars, and there's a difference. Like there needs to be a freedom um to do that, and I think there's the max mode now in Cursor and stuff like that, but like I want the best. I don't want to like I think Claude Code really hit a good spot because it is just unlimited in a way. Like I've never hit limits with my $200 plan ever, but I know I won't pay more than $200. So I think that is a sweet spot. Like not feeling anxious. Like I don't um like decline seeing exactly how many dollars every second you spend kind of approach. Like I get it, you need the transparency, but like it will make me think like I'm not going to use it to commit something or like explore something because it will cost me money, and like that should not be there. So I think the UI should not be transparent in a way that makes me anxious.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
the early Claude Code, always like the dollar
Yeah,
amount.
like
It's
you
just like,
end at $30. I'm like, oh shit, that whole pool goes at $30. Yeah.
nice. Maybe to like, because you're going already over, is to close it out a little bit. Are you afraid of skill degradation?
No, I am not, because I think more people will learn quicker and better in places where they couldn't before. So like my colleague Nitesh, for example, he's from India, very smart. Um, but it's hard to like get experience with Ruby on Rails because there are not like that many companies compared to TypeScript or other things. So he started learning it using ChatGPT, and he is really good. Like that's not long ago ChatGPT launched, and he's actually a really good engineer, and he could just ask himself questions and work through problems, and he built a business before using Rails without knowing anything about Rails. And I think the the level to learn, like it will just level the playing ground for anyone that actually wants to learn this and actually is very passionate about technology and like pushing themselves. And it's the same, like if I want to like start learning more Rust, like I will feel more inclined to do so because I know that like I will be supported 24/7 to learn it. Like there's more incentive to play, to just try things out, like write a cool CLI and learn things, instead of like an elite group saying no, you have to like intern at certain companies to even get access to certain knowledge and like work for years and years and years. So I think there will be more knowledge, but like I'm sure like there will be people that take advantage of this and will just get lazy. But I'm not worried about those people because they are lazy today already and they probably learned something and are already lazy. I think it's like people that are willing to learn always, are optimistic, and want to push themselves, they will be accelerated, and everyone that's like a skeptic or comfortable or not really wanting to change anything, yeah, like maybe if you use it and then still get paid, good for you. But uh, I think yeah, I don't think that will happen. I think it will accelerate more than anything else.
Yeah, I think it is like in food. I think like now we are pretty much have abundance, so you can eat whatever you want.
Yeah,
So you either really degrade and get obese because you have like such abundant food,
yeah.
or you really take advantage of it and live like really healthy, really sporty, whatever. If people want to be helpful to you, how can they do that?
Can you like helpful to me as like a person, or like what do you mean?
Helpful to you, helpful to Kora. Like,
Oh yeah. Yeah. So I love people reaching out with new agents. I love to hear feedback from people, like how like use Kora. Like what does it make you feel? Like I love feedback that say I hate this because it messed up this and this and this, or like it's a terrible tool, or people saying I love this tool, it changed my life, I feel so much more chill. Like I like uh feedback, and like it's really fun because I built this with all like we had 2,500 users before we went public, so we had a good amount of users that were very active in providing feedback, which is very cool. So like giving feedback, I'm always responding to everything. Like I think that's super cool because I can be very close to user feedback. I do customer support, use AI obviously as well, and like I have a good feel what's happening because I have time to do that. Like I can do that because I use AI to support me to do all those things. But my opinion, my like soul or whatever, like the feel that I want to convey with the software and what I do is there. That's mine. It's just like it's accelerated or augmented and supported with AI. So yeah, give feedback. I listen. I love feedback.
and if people want to follow you and Kora, where would you point them?
Yeah, I'm active on Twitter. I post videos all the time. It's X Kieran Klaassen and Kora.computer if you want to sign up and try it out. We have a 7-day free trial. Connect your Gmail account. It's Gmail only for now. It will scan your inbox. It will look through everything in your inbox, everything that's not important right now. It will archive. This is normally 80% of emails. And the other, we will either respond with a draft for you or we will highlight it. So it's really like giving Kora access to your inbox, like, and have it handled. Like this is for people that have lots of emails. This is for people that never check their email. This is for people that only want to see important email. And this is for everyone that like kind of feels overwhelmed or is addicted to checking their inbox, which I think are a lot of people. Just getting a little bit more peace back.